Good morning, folks. Sitting here with the Dookie Duke. Hey, Duke, how you doing, baby? He's sitting there that close because I had pizza. Boy, it's been a busy week this week, folks. It sure has, both economically and with everything going on overseas. You know, we listen to all the news going on during the week while we're at work. And many things have been going on that I find disturbing. Um, Several people have said that we're already in World War III. Other people have said that no, this everything is Russia's fault. You know, here's the reality, folks. The reality is, when you go to the store, everything costs more. That's the reality. The reality is that when you go to the gas pump, gas costs more. Gas is more expensive now than it was 2 years ago. That's the reality. The reality is that we are coming up on the midterms here in a week. Some of you, like myself, have already done the early voting, and I did the early voting because I'm at work during the week. So on election day, I'm not going to be able to get to the poll. So I do early voting because of that, because of my job. And I'm sure there's other people that do that too. Yes, I've already voted. Just so everybody knows, I do believe in voting. I do believe in voting your conscience. I'm not going to tell you, well, you know, vote this party or that party. I'm just going to tell you, vote your conscience and vote with what you feel is what's best represents what you want the country, what direction you want the country to go in. Now, this week, of course, we've had North Korea firing off missiles. We've had South Korea. You know, everybody's posturing. Okay, it's like you get those two bullies on the playground, and one is posturing to the other one, and you know eventually everybody's watching from the sidelines, and eventually it's going to come to blows. I mean, we know this is we know this is going to happen. Okay, we know that people over in Ukraine and on the now annexed portions of Ukraine that have been annexed by Russia and that Russia is now claiming as their territory. We know that people there are dying on a daily basis. My heart and prayer goes out to y'all and to those families affected. I don't want to sound heartless in saying this, but honestly, I'm more concerned about the future than I am about some territorial disputes overseas. I'm more worried about the USA's future. That being said, I think that anyone that you talk to would agree with the fact that if you want to survive in the next couple of years, you need to start taking proactive steps now. By proactive, I mean you should be securing, one, your property. If you wanted an off-grid property, you should be securing that immediately. Two, you should be trying to get as debt-free as you can. I know, Lord, I know the excuses. You ain't even got to tell me about the excuses because I know. because I'm in debt myself. So I know I'm preaching to the choir. I'm preaching to the choir here when I say, hey, for me to get debt free, it's going to take a lot. But you need to think about that, and you need to focus on getting as debt free as you can. Number 3, you need to make sure that you have seeds and some way to grow food. Whether that be inside an apartment with just like a little shelving unit with something to catch the water underneath with grow lights, or whether that be in an actual garden in the backyard. Now, I will say this, if you do a garden in the backyard, please make sure that you secure some kind of plastic or roofing material which will let the sun come through, because from all of the seismic activities and the amount of lava flows underground that's being recorded worldwide, the likelihood of major ash clouds is exponentially increasing. What I mean by that is the likelihood that we will be going into a nuclear winter and into a cycle of extreme seasonal change is creeping up higher and higher per day. And what is causing all of this seismic activity and all of this volcanism going on worldwide has a lot to do with the energy coming off of the sun and our cycle on the planet of the poles and the magnetic shifts. Now, I know that to some people you will say that I'm like speaking up my butt when I say this about possible ash. However, when you have people on the Big Island in Hawaii being told to be prepared to evacuate immediately in case Mauna Loa goes off, and that happens to be one of the biggest volcanoes in the world, that should be an absolute red flag to everyone on the planet. When you have seismic activity deep in the oceans, which is causing animals which are normally found in the deep ocean being seen inland in the sea and in lower depths, than what they're used to. In other words, they're normally a mile down and now they're being seen in 500 foot of water. There's an issue in the deep ocean. Something's happening, whether it be a volcano or earthquake activity. I don't know. I'm sure there's experts out there that would tell you. But the fact that we're seeing that means that there are major issues going on besides the war in Ukraine, besides China wanting to take Taiwan back, besides North Korea shooting off missiles and wanting to secure their place in on the landscape as being an actual mega power. Besides Iran having massive amounts of drones and the conflict going on, I'm sure, between Iran and Israel and the rest of the Middle East, and besides the Israeli Prime Minister being reelected, these issues go beyond political stance. These issues go along the means of the survival of our species. I don't care if you're black, white, yellow, green, purple, blue. I don't care. This is about the survival of our species. And you, as an individual, should be considering that and preparing for that. It might not hit, the pole shift might not happen for another 30, 40 years. But the fact of the matter is that we are in that cycle. And if you watch certain YouTube channels, I'm just going to say it, I love Suspicious Observers. I think he's dead on what he's saying. We are in a cycle, and we are at that cycle of a pole shift, which will cause major fluctuations and major earthquakes and tidal waves and volcanoes, okay, when that happens, okay? And anybody that tells you the poles are going to flip end over end, they don't know what they're talking about. I'll direct you to Suspicious Observer's YouTube channel and let you go through some of his videos to educate yourself. We are in a cycle, and we are at the end of our current cycle and moving into another cycle. Our sun has been sending off massive flares. Thankfully, most of these flares have not been Earth directed. They have been directed out into space. And Mercury and Venus have both took direct hits over the last year. So we do have that going on. And anytime the sun is as active as it has been, those solar winds and those amount of flares and that amount of energy being put out by the sun will affect our magnetic poles and our magnetic field, and that's what causes our auroras. And anytime you see an aurora further south towards the equator, that's not a good thing. Okay, that's not a good thing. Mary Greeley has been putting up that there's been earthquake swarms there at Yellowstone. Please be aware of that. Again, I don't know if Yellowstone is going to go off. If it does, I don't think it'll be a massive eruption like what happened before. I think that it would be more of a small eruption with a collapse down into the huge caldera. I pretty much think the ground will fall inward, and you'll have massive lava flows like you have at the Icelandic volcano instead of a massive eruption. But anytime you have earthquake swarms at a major supervolcano, you need to sit up and take notice, okay? Because anything could happen. But this is one of the reasons why I'm saying you should have plastic available to not only cover your windows to try and keep ash out, but to also try and cover your plants so that they don't die from the amount of ash. And as always, be aware that if you are in an ash environment like what happened at La Palma, you need to be wearing some kind of facial mask to not breathe in at volcanic ash. Volcanic ash is basically little pieces of glass. If you breathe that in, it'll tear your lungs up. And you will die not too long afterward in excruciating pain. So you don't want that. So have even a cloth mask is better than nothing, but you need to think about getting some kind of filtration system for your face, which can filter out ash particles. Okay? If that does happen, if the volcanoes do go off, like everybody is saying, it might it will plunge us into a nuclear winter. That means that if you're going to grow something, you're going to need to grow it inside. The likelihood of you being able to grow it outside is pretty low, just because of the amount of cold. So if you can secure for yourself simple grow lights and, small pots or with soil and, something to put those pots on. There are small hydroponic units that you can buy that are all self-contained, and they don't take up very much space, and you can grow a lot of small greens that way. I would also highly recommend that if you haven't done so, to secure some kind of long-term food storage. Um, and I know not very many people watch my channel. That's okay. For those few who do, I think you feel where I'm coming from. We are in the last days, folks. Now, you have people who claim that all this prophecy about the last days is just people predicting the end of Earth cycle, which is every 26,000 years. Maybe. I tend to think that the Bible is spot on. And if you read the Bible and you read Revelations, I think that you will find that we are exactly in that cycle that is talked about in Revelations. I hope and pray that we do not go into nuclear war, which will just absolutely destroy this planet. I hope and pray that you are watching the economy and you're seeing things as I'm seeing them. I hope I'm not out here on my own discussing these things. Now, some news for me. I did go to orientation with a new trucking company, and if you watched my last video, this is my very first time backing into a dock with a 53-footer in 9 years. Very proud of myself for that. Not saying I can't back, but it's been 9 years since I drove a 53-footer around and backed it up. Okay, so the fact that I'm doing it okay is shocking to me, because I've never considered myself a great backer, right? And I am talking about a big rig. For those who don't know, I am talking about an 18-wheeler with a 53-foot long trailer, which is 13.6 high. If you don't know how much that is, when you add the trailer and the truck together, it's approximately 72 feet long in total. And it's not easy to back up. This is why people go to school for it, okay? So I did start a new company this week. Hopefully everything will work out fine. Of course, unfortunately, I had to leave my dog overnight, and I had to lock the cat in the bathroom, because otherwise the cat would have been tearing up the house, right? And the dog did pull all the blankets off the couch, all the blankets off the bed, all the blankets off the chairs, He had a field day in the house, okay? And I'm still cleaning up that mess. And he's back with his ball. He's like, it's time to play ball. But I'm feeling pretty good about this new company, and I'm really impressed with them so far. But as all the truckers out there know, companies will promise a lot and then they not deliver, or they do not deliver what they promise. As far as pay and mileage and, where you're rolling and, So we'll see how that goes. But so far, first couple of days, I'm impressed with them. In my opinion, they're a much better company than the company I just left after 5 years. So they seem to have their stuff together a lot better than the company I just left. So I am looking forward to that. If you do have chickens, of course, this time of the year, your chickens are molting, and my chickens have slowed down. Of course, I do not supplement light. I let them be natural, and if they don't want to lay, then they don't have to lay. I don't force my animals to do anything they don't want to do. That I just let it be natural that way. So, what else is going on? Well, not much. I mean, just, reading the Bible and doing my thing, and accepting the blessings which are coming my way. I don't know about y'all, but I find it difficult a lot of times to accept a blessing because I just feel like I don't deserve them, So when a blessing does come my way, I really question it. It's like, wow, why am I getting this, and why is this happening? And I really question it, and question if it's real or not. And so I don't want to be offensive to anyone who's trying to bless me or anything, but that's where my attitude is I don't feel like I deserve the blessings. And so a lot of times when someone tries to bless me with something, I end up either refusing it or giving it to someone else because I have what I need. So yeah. I don't know what else to say this week. Like I said, I went through orientation this week, and so I haven't really been able to get online much, and I've been kind of busy with the new job and getting everything straight there and getting set up with that. But I just wanted everybody to keep an eye on things and watch. Keep your eyes open. See what's going on around you. Be aware of where you're at and your surroundings. I mean, there's so much going on in the world today that we, as children of God, need to be the light for those who are in darkness. That's what we need to be. And sometimes being that light is very difficult. It doesn't come easy, and a lot of times we want to be, we want to fall back into our habits of cussing and swearing and flipping people off and fighting and forcing our own way, and that's not Christ-like. And so I'm going to tell you now, whenever you start to get into these type of situations, you need to stop, take a breath, and think, would Jesus do this? If Jesus was standing right beside you, would you do this? Because technically, he's with you everywhere you go. And I think a lot of people forget that. So when you feeling really down, just remember you're not alone. You're never alone. God is always there right with you. You might not see him and you might not even know that he's there. Okay? But he's there all the time, every day, no matter what. And like I said, sometimes for me it's very hard to accept a blessing when it comes my way because I don't feel like I deserve any blessings. I mean, I know that sounds strange, especially those who know me, because they're like, but you do everything for everyone and you try and help everyone you can and la da da, you know. But for those who know me as I am now, you don't know my past. And my past really defines me, and it really humbles me that God would forgive me of that past. And so I never let myself forget the blessing of salvation. I never let myself forget that, because without Christ, I'm nothing. And I think going into the cycle that we're going into, I think everyone needs to remember that. And I know I've rattled on for 30 minutes here, but I really felt that people needed to hear this, that, you know, you need to get plastic for your windows. You need to get some kind of supplemental heating. You need to get seeds. You need to get food and put it away. I really, really have an exceptionally bad feeling about this winter. I don't know why I feel this bad, but I really do feel bad about this winter. I think millions are going to die. And that probably just made all of you go, what? I really, really think that. And I think everyone needs to be holding on to Christ as hard as they can, because we're going into some tribulations coming up that will shock the faith of people to their core. And yeah, that's all I have for you this week. God willing, we'll be here next week, and I'll put out another video. And I hope and pray that everyone starts moving little by little towards a more self-sustainability, and that you get as debt-free as you can get. I really think that this winter is going to be bad. I really do. And I just feel it in my soul. I really do. And so I felt that I needed to come on and say a little bit about that, and make you a little bit aware of a possibility of things going off. And with that, I'm going to talk to you later. Bicycle!